You look radiant, Miss Danforth. What a delight it is to meet such a pretty cousin. Miss Danforth glowed. You are too kind. Truly, the crossing from America was mercifully uneventful. I understand I come from hardy stock. The lashes went up again, and her eyes were limpid. She looked about as hearty as a blown dandelion. He humoured this transparent attempt at flattery with a faint smile.
Certainly, Miss Danforth, our stock, as you say, has withstood any number of buffetings over the Anne!
He swivelled his head. High-pitched, very faint, very sneaky, a sound floated into the room. It was impossible to know from which direction it came. It waxed and waned, a bit like the whine of a diving mosquito. He glanced at his wife, who was sporting a faint, puzzled dent between her eyes. Miss Danforth, on the other hand, remained unruffled. She gave no appearance of having heard a thing, unless one counted a slight further straightening of her spine. Her eyes were bright with curiosity now. Perhaps she thought men of his advanced age, he had just turned 40, naturally acquired twitches and tics, and she was prepared to be sympathetic and tolerant. "Your home is remarkably beautiful," she said, "and so very grand." "We're so pleased you think so," Genevieve said warmly. "I loved growing up here. Falconbridge is indulging me in a hunt for another home nearby, so we can live near my family for at least part of the year. But I cannot wait to show you the grounds, though I'm certain it will all seem rather tame compared to America, Miss Danforth." Miss Danforth's laugh was like bells. "I dare say it isn't as exciting as you might think, though it certainly is different from England. Oh, and I do hope you'll come to call me Tansy. All my friends do." Both Genevieve and the Duke paused. There was a bit of American expansiveness to her manners, as if all those wide open spaces across the ocean caused them to stretch indolently, the way one slouches in a chair when no one is about to impress. The Duke smiled faintly. "We'll have such fun introducing you to society, Tansy," his wife indulged. "How exciting New York must be. But oh, we do manage to have a lovely time here. Do you enjoy dancing? We've a splendid array of activities planned for you." "Oh, well, I fear I'm a bit of a wallflower. Life has been a bit—" She cleared her throat. "A bit quiet, you see, for the past year or so." The lashes stayed down, and there passed a little moment of silence, for they did see. Her parents had been killed in a carriage accident a little over a year ago. Her older brother had died in the War of 1812 before that, and that left Miss Danforth alone in the world. Save, of course, for the Duke, who was now charged with marrying her off to a title spectacular enough to match the girl's fortune, which would only be released to her in its entirety when the match was made. Her future, essentially, was in the Duke's hands. So dictated her father's will. His cousin had decamped from Sussex to America when the girl sitting before him was only 8 years old. The Duke had always hoped to see him again, for they'd been close, and the Duke's close friendships were few.
Danforth!
Bloody hell, there the sound was again. So eerie, nearly ghostly, it almost stood the hairs on the back of his neck on end. He whipped his head about again, but not before he saw Miss Danforth's eyes fly open wide, then give an infinitesimal guilty dart toward the window and back again. He narrowed his eyes at her. Her smile never dimmed. Her hands remained neatly folded in her lap. She met his gaze bravely. "Perhaps a sheep fell into a drainage ditch," Genevieve suggested into the ensuing silence. "Poor thing."
"Oh, you!"
The sound was quite discernible as a voice now, a man's voice. Perhaps it's the wind?" Miss Danforth had tried for casual and almost but not quite succeeded. Wind was more a squeak than a word. Miss Danforth jumped when the Duke stood abruptly.
"I'll just have a look, shall I?"
He crossed the room in 3 strides. He pushed the window open, and a stiff breeze hoisted the curtains high, like a villain brandishing his cape. He peered out. On the green, far below the window, a man was down on his knees, his hands clasped in the universally understood gesture of beseeching, his head thrown back so far his mouth looked like a little dark O, and from this O issued howls of what sounded like talk.